The meeting is being live streamed. All right. So hello, everyone, and welcome to Cosmic Conversations. I'm your host, Sheila Seppi, and I want to thank you so much for joining us, whether you're here live with us or you're watching us on replay. I thank you so much and honor you for your time commitment to us. Now, tonight, we have a very special guest, and it's Michele Rae. Now, Michele is a transformational coach, spiritual teacher, founder of The Center Within, and she also wrote a book. So she has authored The Living from the Center Within. She embodies wisdom from many different lifetimes as multiple light beings and has a clear vision of the emerging template grid system assisting humanity shift into the new era. She offers guidance, coaching, and transmissions to support integrating and embodying these higher frequencies as we evolve into our new light bodies with expanded access to higher levels of consciousness. So, Michele, I am so happy that you have decided to join us tonight. It's a privilege to have you here, and I'd like to go ahead and to bring you up because I do have a couple questions that I want to ask you. But first, I need to find which computer that I'm operating from. Okay, here we go. So, hello. How are you?
Oh, it's been a gorgeous summer time, right? Here we are, right by the solstice on these long days in our North American, anyway, maybe shorter for some of you in the Southern Hemisphere. I know we've got someone from Australia. Yeah, nice to see you. So it's great to be here and celebrate this long, summery, sunny days and all the light energy that's happening for us here in the Northern Hemisphere.
So I'm excited to hear what you have to share with us about everything that's coming up with this new cycle and all the changes that are happening. I actually got to hear a little bit of an interview of you talking about this subject, actually on the Conscious Awakening Network, which of course you're a host, and we thank you so much for that. But I loved what you were talking about and was wondering if you could share just a little bit with everybody what your thoughts are on, what's coming up for humanity.
Yes. Well, what's fun for me is to engage in this conversation because there isn't a single person on the planet right now that isn't wanting to be here because this is such a huge time of transformation. And my story, like many of ours, probably started. I have a memory from before I incarnated, feeling into the earth during this time and could see that there was going to be this huge up leveling happening. And I wanted to be a part of it. And the image that I have is that there is a huge template, kind of like a grid system on the planet that matches in the body. It's holographic. And we were going to hit a magic amount of frequency during this time on the planet, and that dormant template and grid system would become active, and it would hold a higher frequency. So all the biology on the planet would be able to adapt, adjust, right? Slowly find our way up to this higher frequency. And how I understand it is that we are actually shifting from one species to another, evolving to another level of species, which is kind of an amazing time to be on the planet. And I know that many of us have had memories of being in other dimensions with other civilizations that have even gone before us in this evolutionary process, that are here, that are helping, that are supporting our guidance. However, we'll talk a little bit about that multidimensional aspects of ourselves and the non-physical world. But I feel like there's so much support during this time of radical transformation. And it's an exciting thing to be here, to know that we are co-creating together. The subtitle of my book is Co-Creating Who We Are Becoming, right? So we are living from our center within. And even the center within came about during that between wake and sleep time, right? How are we of service during this amazing time on the planet? And it was kind of came in as an image, like a little ball, and then it was a CW like a logo, like a little yin yang, and then the center within words came, and then it kind of collapsed in on itself into the still point. And so I feel like we constantly are getting images and messages and ways of understanding what's happening. And in our sharing of the stories, which is such a brilliant community that we have here through Conscious Awakening Network, through the Galactic Alliance. Sheila and I were recently at the Portals to Ascension conference in San Diego together, along with Susie. And each one of us has a way of gathering information, of merging and melding, right, with these multi-levels of consciousness to understand what's happening here and to be in community and to realize how practical it is for us to be up leveling and upgrading and attuning. And yes, it's a messy process. Yes, there's a lot of deconstructing happening. And it also feels like we have what it takes, right? This is the time. And there are lots of new technologies coming in, light language, for instance, right, that are really assisting us in being able to adjust and integrate and embody these new frequencies that are streaming in and as and through us.
Oh, that's awesome. And, as you're talking, one of the things I wanted to ask you about is you were talking about, really we're kind of like a reflection, I guess, of the universe, what's within, what's without. And as we begin to change, the universe itself, as far as what we know the universe to be, seems to be changing. It may even be our local environment that's starting to change. But one of the things that I have noticed is it seems like all of the constructs, all of those old, and when I say matrix, please understand, I'm not talking about Neo and unplugging, but the matrix, on which the holographic matrix, on which everything is built. It seems like all of that false matrixing is beginning to collapse in on itself. And as it does, everything from within is being reflected without. And I firmly believe that's one of the reasons that people are saying to each other, I can't believe what's happening in the world. This is just not acceptable. And I'm wondering how that conversation fits in with what you're sharing with us.
I completely agree. I think that part of the light that's coming through is shining to expose, right? We're so much more aware of, and it's not necessarily that new things that are being deconstructed are happening that weren't happening before. But you're right, Sheila, our tolerance for it, our tolerance for oppression and greed and power over, those old ways of entitlement are no longer serving. They never were. And we as a collective are willing and more capable of being with some of that deconstruction and imagining a reconstruction, right? To be able to have it be reflected in all the holographic ways that we experience things. But in my book, I was thinking about that today, that here's some ways that language I have around what's falling apart in this old era, the old matrix, right? The worn out enough already, right? And what are we imagining into our new matrix? What are we intending? So we're moving from things like depletion to sustainability, from secrecy to transparency, from exclusiveness to inclusiveness, right? We're moving from self-serving to mutually beneficial, from separation to interdependence, blame to responsibility. This whole idea of greed to compassion, our ability to have violence moving towards peace, agitation to equanimity, right? Dominance to freedom, breaking down versus breaking through. So I just really see us moving from this old era thinking where there had to be a hierarchy, there had to be a lot of judgment, there had to be somebody to be oppressed and somebody to do the oppressing, right? And then somebody to save, right? That whole victim triangle. We don't need it. We've outgrown it. And every system in society is adjusting. And that's what's so great about getting together with this kind of a group of people. We're not like way on the fringe. We're like, doctors and lawyers and farmers and teachers and artists and right authors. And we're here in society looking to see how can some of this new holographic way of being in this new era impact our medical system, our political system, our financial system, our energy system, right? Our education system. I'm right with you, Sheila. It is time for us to be willing to expose what is in that old worn out matrix and really imagine into this dimension what's possible and what is in the highest good of all beings that we share this beautiful planet with.
So now I am super, super curious about one thing that you were talking about when you said that you had memory of coming in before you actually arrived here. And I'm wondering if you could go a little bit more in depth. What in the world would make you want to come here? If you could see what was happening, what was going through your thought processes, what was calling you here?
I think part of what was calling me was I could really viscerally feel who we are becoming. We're going to be more clairs, right? We're going to be more clairvoyant, more telepathic. It's not going to be like we need to do something good in the world. The whole world will be a reflection of us. Like this is going to be me. My primary identity is not going to be me as an ego and a separate self, right? An individual. My book calls it an individual, where the goal is simply to be the best citizen we can be, which is a great goal. But what we're talking about and where we're moving is to this interconnectedness, where I don't have to decide not to litter, for instance. Why would I throw trash on myself if we can really feel into? So I think to your point, I had this very glossy, superficial, yay, rah, rah, Pollyanna like feeling about it. And then I don't know if this is a shared experience with anyone else, but I got here and holy flippin' buckets. Like it's so dense. It's so harsh. It was so hopeless feeling. I mean, I probably just like all of us went through the hardships and did all kinds of crazy, experiments apparently, and to work with and be with other people that felt oppressive and felt mean and felt harsh. So yes, I remember working, maybe like many of us, doing all kinds of different energy trainings, right? And learning about the energy of the world. How come I'm so empathic and I just feel so overwhelmed by this? I don't know, even all the way back to junior high, like how rotten can we treat people, right? And learning and studying and getting more centered and finding out how to work with the energy. And I just had to, at some point, probably, through my own cycles of abuse and just tolerating stuff and my own small mindedness and my limiting beliefs and my negative self-talk and oh my word, all the things about being human, to keep healing my holes, to move into that place of wholeness where I remember over a period of about 6 months making that shift where I fell in love with humanity because I could remember the potential. And we find our tribe, right? We aren't doing this alone. And it is an effort or an intention to be able to have the vision, right? Feel the excitement, find each other, build community, build great new platforms like you're doing with Conscious Awakening Network, right? So we can continue to support each other and find each other and then take care of ourselves, right? We have each other, we have body workers. And I mean, just think of all the energetic support we have in taking care of our bodies, our hearts, our minds. But yes, there is this underlying trust that this is who we are becoming. This is a natural process. And I do think, checking in with the Andromedans and checking in with the Palladians for me, and knowing and feeling and being able to relax open. We'll maybe talk a little bit about that multidimensional. How do you see into? How do we merge and communicate with the multidimensional aspects of ourselves and all the beings that live in those dimensions to be able to support us as we muscle through this messy, sloppy transition we're in.
And it's hard to believe that we fought in line to get here.
I'm thinking,
we all, anyone who is here right now, I heard someone say they have to be a master of their own destiny just to be here, because there's so much chaos. There's so many changes. There's so many shifts. I know for myself, I couldn't wait to get here either, to kind of be boots on the ground. And all of us really are. Every person on this planet is a change agent. They just have to remember that. And a lot of people, they talk about, I want to connect with my multidimensional me, and I want to connect with this, and I want to do this. And it's like, but we already are those things. We just have to remember that we are that we seek to become. We're already these multidimensional beings projecting ourselves in, having this human experience, going through this chaotic beauty, because this ascension process is unlike, anything else. We have members of our galactic families that's watching us all the time, helping us to navigate. They can't, because of the universal directive, they can't come in and just affect change. But I believe that they have been affecting change from our higher atmosphere out, kind of clearing away some of those energies that were coming in, some of that programming, if you will, that has been inundating the human race forever, really. And so I think they've been doing their part. And a lot of us that's here are star seeds, we're walk-ins, we're from different levels, we're angelic beings, we're dimensional beings, we're all kinds of species coming in to be boots on the ground to experience this. And the likelihood that most people have already been through an ascension is pretty high. I think a lot of us just might be what we would call those spiritual junkies. We just want to go through the chaos again, because forever is a long time.
I agree. And I appreciate the unprogramming, right? And the unconditioning, because that is exactly what we're doing. And I couldn't agree with you more, Sheila, that there is this infusion of energetic support in alignment with the universal laws, right? And it's interesting now as we learn more about different points in our human history that we have had an infusion, an injection of energy from the star seeds and the multidimensional beings, right? And it's been fun to see some of that research emerging. I know Greg Braden has been doing a fair amount of that that I've been noticing lately. But I also completely agree with you that we are here and we aren't anywhere else. So I appreciate, one of the ways that I like to think about it is we are not here or there. We are not in our multidimensional non-physical aspects or in our physical aspects. They coexist simultaneously at all times. And so what you're describing is that, yes, sometimes we can turn our attention. I wrote a bit about Einstein, for instance, and how he described getting the secrets of the universe, right? And he just, in his body, we can be in our body and then just open our awareness to the multidimensional aspects of ourselves and see what comes, see how we can converse with, but we don't go anywhere but here. Right? We just also live in these multidimensional worlds and we merge with that intelligence. I'm thinking about it this moment, a story where I was lucky enough to be on a beach in Cabo. And I learned about neutrinos. I don't know if you guys know about the little tiny, particles that stream through 100,000 of them through every cubic centimeter of our body every second, right? And it totally intrigued me. I had read Lynn McTaggart's book, The Field, that has this meta study of all these, intentions and how we're connected in the morphic field in these multidimensional ways. outside of time and space. So anyway, I'm doing a little qigong on the beach, and I'm asking the neutrinos to teach me what they know, right? This kind of idea, just like Einstein might have about the universe. And I finish my routine and I'm feeling, imagining the neutrinos coming through me and communicating with me, and just feeling this way that this information is transferred and communicated on the morphic field. And this humpback whale, about a football field in front of me off the ocean, came straight up and straight down. And I just got these huge chills. And I waited a few minutes. I didn't see it appear again, started wondering if it really happened. I teared up. I thanked the neutrinos for the lesson about how we communicate, how we are one. And I started walking probably a mile back to the resort along the beach. And she came alongside of me with her baby between me and her. And she walked the whole 15 minutes back to which now is a group of over 100 people watching all this, right? She stayed, she fed her baby. She stayed so long that her partner they kind of stay out. I think the male will stay out a little bit, came into shore. It's very deep there. It's like 800 feet, barely off the water here. And, it's like, what the heck is sort of the story I made up. And so then the three of them are playing for a while. It was done. The baby went first, they went second, and they got out, 3 football fields together, put their tails up, waved them at us, and moved on. Right? So, and I don't know. So this is our multidimensional self. This is us communicating. This is us being open to learning how to be human in this way. Anyway, that's just a fun little story of practicing.
I love that.
Open. Yeah.
I love that. They say that the whales are the record keepers of the planet because they've been here so long and have such a superior intellect. But a lot of people also say that they come from off planet, that possibly from Sirius and possibly from the Palladian system. But I want to give a shout out real quick to Spirit of the Trees that's joining us on YouTube and making some great comments. So thank you for being here with us. But, these intelligences that are on the planet, like you said, these multidimensional aspects of us, isn't it fascinating to think that we could be all of that because we're just a reflection of each other?
Yeah. And when we shift, it's kind of like I don't know if you've seen those magic eye pictures. There's a bunch of squiggly lines on them, and you soften your view and the 3D picture appears. It's not that it hasn't always already been there, but what we're doing, exactly what you're saying, Sheila, is learning to broaden our perceptive capacity so that we can enjoy being alive and having these senses, the synchronicity, the intuition, the clairaudience, clairvoyance, right, open to us. And I do feel like there's a way that we can, in this process, because consciousness, how I understand it, how I've been shown, is that consciousness is this vast field, and that we have maybe, I don't know, sometimes 11 to 17% access to all these dimensions, right, in our perceptive capacity. So through our practicing together, we can attune and open up more of our ways of this subtle knowing, right? So that we can enjoy more of this field of consciousness. And there's all kinds of fun ways that we continue to practice. This book is sort of a mindfulness guide to becoming human in this way together, right? So we practice managing our nervous system. We practice paying attention to the subtle energies. We learn from the plant medicine, right? The energy medicine, the animal medicine, each other. And we're open to having new things arise in our awareness that we didn't even think was possible before, and to not shove it back into the old matrix and try to make it make sense in that old way, but continue just to open and say, I have no idea. This is so amazing. I'm very curious, right? I'm open-minded. I wonder how good can we take it? That was a question someone asked me once, and it stuck with me, right? So I appreciate the invitation, Sheila, and I think it's pretty amazing to imagine what's possible as our everyday, ordinary experience of being human.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you mentioned something a moment ago about the various practices that you have in your book. And I was wondering if we'd be lucky enough for you to share one of those practices with us.
Oh, I would be so honored.
Woohoo.
So yeah, I thought it would be really great to offer just a guided meditation. And knowing that it's our sound, like in the beginning there was the word, right? And we had some music a little earlier, that the frequency of sound and voice and guided imagery using our imagination can help us to adjust to these frequencies that are coming, right? The Schumann resonance it's off the charts, right? All kinds of ways that we are being infused with these higher frequencies. But let's take a little bit of time here in the middle of our time together to do a little guided visualization and to see if we can receive some support as we integrate and embody these energies. So if you're willing just to take a deep breath and center yourself, maybe you shut your eyes or have a soft gaze. And this is our time to receive the light that most supports us as we move through this transition, this up-leveling, this upgrading. So take a moment to find your breath fully. And scan your body, one end to the other, and just bring all of your attention into this present moment. And when you're ready, rest your attention on your heart and the gratitude that you have for finding this community, this opportunity to be together in this non-local way. Whether you're listening later, listening now, it's all in the present moment. And as you relax into this vibration of coherence created in a state of gratitude, allow in your mind's eye a healing chamber off in the distance that you have an appointment. You made an appointment for a session for some photonic light infusion to support you today. So in your mind's eye, you move towards this healing center. Maybe it's a cave, maybe it's a building, maybe it's the middle of the forest. But it has a door that you're approaching. And you relax even more fully knowing you've made this appointment with yourself. And as you enter this space, you see a place for you to sit down or lie down somewhere in the center of this healing chamber. And as you walk slowly over and settle in, you can feel the safety and peacefulness of this place, this time, this space. There's an energy in this space. Maybe it has some crystals in it, or a sound, soothing sound, or light, color, warmth. It's the perfect temperature. And as you relax, your body lights up. As you soften, you realize that you are emitting a frequency of light, photonic light, all the time. It's your signature, your vibration emanating into the world. You almost can imagine yourself as a tube of light, fully relaxed, sending your signal out to the cosmos. And in that signal is your intention for today. You are asking the universal intelligence that lives in the quantum field, that flows in and as and through all that is, to receive your message through your light body, and to prepare a gift for you. This gift that's being created is a packet of energy directly created in response to your photonic light signature today. These small light packages begin to move towards your body. They spin in geometric shapes. They have color, they have a hum, and they are filled with universal light frequencies designed to assist you with your intentions for healing, your intentions for who you are becoming, what you're expanding into, for releasing all that no longer serves you, and energizing your optimal self. You can feel this gift floating closer to you as you are ready to receive these light packets that you've asked for, you've designed with your energetic signature. And as you receive them, it feels like this beautiful gift of light. It flows in you and opens. These packets of light open in you, and you receive their energetic frequency, attunement, transmission. And they adjust you at a cellular level, assisting you, supporting you, releasing what you intend, and amplifying and accelerating your becoming. So as you attune, it feels so natural. This is your organic process. A gift from yourself to yourself as pure light and love. This gift of energy, this transmission will continue to work with you, bringing more coherence and resonance through the coming hours and days. And you now, in your mind's eye, begin to stretch in this sacred healing room. And soon you'll be ready to stand again. Take a moment to feel the gratitude for this gift, this adjustment, this attunement. And when you're ready, you find the door that you came in and walk through it. And as you continue walking, the healing chamber fades in the distance. You feel light. You feel full. You feel content. You feel home. And you find yourself where you are in this present moment. Maybe you're lying down, maybe you're seated. You bring all of your attention back into your body in this now moment. When you're ready, you find your breath. Again, connecting to that sense of appreciation and gratitude. Taking an even deeper breath in and out when you're ready. Wiggling your fingers, your toes, your body. Stretching. Bringing all of your attention back into this now moment. Opening your eyes when you're ready.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. You know, I know, is this particular meditation one that you share in your book, or is this something that you use? And can you tell people a little bit more about your book and where they can find it?
Yeah. Yes, the book is called Living from the Center Within. So it's this invitation to live in this still point and integrate all of our multidimensional self and this new energy frequency. And it walks us through a process. I use a map around higher consciousness. So it brings us to assessing where we are, some science. I'm kind of a science geek at heart. I have clients, I see clients one-on-one for coaching, transformational coaching, as you had introduced me to, Sheila. And we also offer classes online and live, and a deep dive 6-month class that this book is a part of the curriculum. But it's a step-by-step process of being able to check in, assess ourselves. What does the science say? Each chapter has a written meditation of some kind. It might be a loving kindness meditation. It might be a body scan. And then at the end of each chapter, it has reflection questions. So in my mind, writing it, it's almost like a book club you could have with just yourself, with your friends. And it brings us walks us through the 3 stages of consciousness in the map I use. As I had said, I am an individual, and I'm healing my holes during that part of my life, that part of my journey. Mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, financially, environmentally, right? All the intelligences. And then we open up, not in a linear way, to that interconnected realm where the clairs open up, where we can move our attention readily back and forth between dimensions, always having some of our awareness in all of the dimensions, right? But just being able to focus. So it has practices around being able to develop that ability to be interconnected. And there's some science again in there, and some biology and mind-body science. And then it also brings us into that place and talks about what it is when we fully know unity consciousness, when we fully are pure awareness. And I call it infinite. So what happens for us is that we personally, our identity in the beginning of our development is just with I as an individual. And everything else is separate, right? The scarcity, all the things, all the judgment. And then we move back and forth. At any given moment, we can be in any of these states. It's not a linear process, but we move back and forth enough where we shift our stage of consciousness, is what we call it in transpersonal psychology, where most of the time we stay in that interconnected realm. We notice the synchronicity. Our clairs are turned on. So we have kind of a continual way of being human that includes that, unless we get triggered, unless we get over aroused, unless we get in panic, right? Then we move back into that protect and defend mode. And then we can also have, there's practices that really encourage that connection to the all that is, where we can just fully open. And once we know ourselves as I am infinite, you can never unknow it. And it changes how we move about the planet. It changes the small choices we make every day, right? To be more tolerant, to be kinder, right? To be more present, to keep our attention in this moment so that we can notice the subtle energies. So the book is designed as a kind of a guidebook, and it came about because clients and students asked, do you have something I could share besides like your blogs and, you know, your audios and, you know, pieces of things, which I have a number of resources on my website. A lot of interviews and classes, and I actually have a teachable class. I know that we're working with Conscious Awakening Network to have an education kind of arm to it, but I have some recorded teachable classes, and it's really been fun to put everything into the book. So it's available as a paperback as well as an audio book. That's a little more about that. Thank you for the invitation, Sheila.
Awesome. And can you share your website with everyone?
Yes, it is centerwithin.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, I'd like to go ahead and open up to see what kind of comments or questions that our audience might have.
Amazing.
All right. So if anyone has any questions, comments, here we go. Hi, Susie.
Hi, this is Michelle. You are so beautiful. This is just so beautiful. And the meditation, I had so much happening. And your talk was so synchro destiny that with what's happening in this one's life. And I had an experience where I was right before this lifetime. I was with, I don't know if they were dead guys or angels. There were these balls of light that were communicating to me, you know, and they said they wanted me to look at this lifetime. And I looked at it and I said, oh, no, I cannot do that one. And then they said, wait a minute, look back and see what you've done so far. And I looked back and I don't remember. I kind of have a thing to go back into that memory and find it someday, but I'm really busy. But I came back and I said, oh, yeah, I can do this. And instantly I was an embryo. And instantly there was abuse and bummer. And I mean, it was like, this life has not been easy, but it's kind of like everything that is like this challenge, that those are our strengths once we get through them, you know? And yeah, I just love you. This was just so beautiful. So beautiful. And, you know, I was talking with another friend that he's never had a body this time. He came directly from the 8th dimension. And both of us were talking like, you know, when we got here and we knew our purpose, we thought it would like take a couple, my thing is I had a death experience when I was 17 and then another one later. And I thought, oh, I can do this. I'm going to shift this planet. And I thought God met me today and Maui tomorrow and the earth the next day. And here, I don't have gray hair yet, but I'm 72. This is like, you know, a long time. And my friend said the same thing. He said, I just thought I could come in and shift this planet so easily, but I got here. You said the words, it's so dense here. You know, the stuff that's, anyway, right on. I love you. I will get your book. Beautiful. And I want to sing to you someday.
Oh, I would like that. We will make that date. Thank you for sharing your story.
Oh, so you're just, love you. Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, Sue. Okay, does anybody else have any comments? And while you're thinking, I just want to say, Susie, you know, I think so many times we all, you know, we kind of looked at us like, nah, I don't think I really want that life. but yet here we are. And I'm sure when we leave, it'll be like, "Ah, what was I thinking? It was a great ride, but what was I thinking?" But Michele, I just loved your talk and the way that you were able, to bring all of these facets together to show this truly reflective point, that we are within the universe, and how we can work within ourselves to make that even stronger. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, you're
All right.
welcome. I do feel like when we get together too and share our stories, I'd love to hear if anyone else is willing to comment on any of this material, because I feel like we're all, it's kind of like, how we all look at the elephant and we all kind of can perceive certain aspects of it. But once we know we're all in this together, and that I keep learning from someone else talking about it from their perspective, it's like, oh yeah, it's similar, but I also have this, or right. And then it's like, it wakes me up into understanding my own lived experience at a whole new level when we share our stories. So with that, I'll just see if anyone else is in the mood to share anything.
Okay, folks, don't be shy.
I think Bridget was offering.
Hello.
Hey, Bridget.
Hello. Let me make sure that my phone is turned all the way. I'm running a lot of tech to stream us into Clubhouse. So you guys, please forgive that little bit of echo in the background.
Well, thank you for doing that for us week after week. We're being streamed in to Clubhouse and the Wake and Ascending. So thank you, Bridget, for doing that.
Oh, I'm so happy to do it, Sheila. I love you and I love the fam, and we love the Galactic Alliance and all the amazing things that you bring to us. So, and all the amazing people. So yeah, I loved it. Michele, I think you're amazing, and definitely feel a lot of commonality with a lot of what you shared. And I would love for you to come hang out with us in the Awaken Ascending House sometimes, so that you could hear people all around the world having these conversations, and really talking about what ascension means to each of us and how we are experiencing our own personal journeys, getting to see all of the commonalities, but also getting to hold space for one another where there is beautiful difference, right? So, and really just, I've been communicating my whole life with a variety of different beings. And one thing that I keep experiencing is I am barely scratching the surface of what we truly are and how our soul is expressing not only in this, Terra collective, the Earth collective, but also within our enormous universe, dimensions and non-dimensional expressions, multi-universal expressions, and how so I just lost my AirPod. Hold on. Got excited with my hand talking. so much of what we're experiencing and all of these variety of expressions actually holds value within this human expression, and how I find that to be so fantastic. So thank you for bringing in that beautiful divine neutrality, love and above with your expressions. I feel it. I resonate with you, and thank you very much for bringing this in for us today, and all of the delicious things that you talked about energetically. The codes and the keys and the frequencies were so amazing. So thank you. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Bridget, and thank you for streaming, and thank you for sharing your community. That you'll have to maybe put it in the chat for us if you're willing. Be great. I just feel like, yeah, I feel like we've kind of been atoms, and getting kind of all of our electrons moving at a different speed. But what I see is happening next is like group mind, like we're really becoming molecules. And the actual literal structure and what's possible as we merge and play with each other in these love and above. You're right? You have to be able to vibrate at a certain frequency to be able to even make the molecule, if that makes sense. But I do feel like we are coming into community, into group mind in a way that is, I like what you said, Bridget, almost beyond what we can imagine. And so we're just saying yes, and we're moving forward, and we're hanging out with people that we can talk about this stuff with, so we can normalize it, bring it in, integrate, embody it, and then make decisions day in and day out from that truth. So thank you for your 2 cents. And Carol, it looks like you're going to share something with us. Maybe not. Looked like you were off mic, or that you were off mute.
Sorry, I was just saying, before I let Bridget go, are there any questions or comments from Clubhouse right now?
Oh my goodness, yeah. So let me see. I'm not seeing a lot of the little emoji, but I mean, the room chat is full of people commenting about the many amazing wisdom keepers. Wow, that was amazing. Thank you. I received this transmission with love and gratitude, grace and peace. These are just variety of comments, right? Excited to do the meditation on the replay because they're busy listening, right? And want to drop in with us. And then let's see. I think there is a question. Joan Russo says, can you ask guidance what exactly the type of being I am and where exactly I am from? I can address that if Michelle.
Go for it.
In a private, and like we can do it after the chat if you want, unless you are picking something up from her. But yeah, there's a lot of love and gratitude being sent to you for this, and it feels like everyone is really resonating with it.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, I just appreciate you and the group. And I know Sheila and I had a conversation last October when I met her about my own lineage, my own heritage, which I have pieces and parts of. But I feel like the answer to that question continues to unfold for all of us. You know, we keep tapping into different levels and different lifetimes. And I really appreciated my introduction to Sheila. And we had an opportunity to be at Portals to Ascension for 3 days together in San Diego, and Susie was there too. And many people have that gift of sight, right? The gift of being able to know their clairs and in very different ways. You know, it's fascinating to me as we up level and surrender and say yes, the number of different ways that people have an opening, whether it's to know our starseed family or to bring in a light language. And my friend Jill is on this call, and she's an amazing light language channeler, right? And so I just feel like we're all doing, we get it. People get caught up on what's your soul purpose. And the soul purpose is to embody this high frequency, live at love and above, and then let the doing come from what emerges. I know when I talked to Sheila, she's like, yeah, and then the guidance came in this way. And then, my heavens, I wasn't even done with my book yet. Now I'm doing this, right? So we don't have to go far to know that what to do if we're attuned and be able to perceive the energy at these subtle levels. So it's kind of fun. It's more about being than it is about doing, and letting the doing emerge from the level of presence that we can embody. Off on a little tangent there.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Bridget, again, for streaming us and for all the awesome comments. All right, Carol, let me find you. There you are. Come on up, Carol. Hi. You had a question for Michele? Can you unmute, Carol?
No, I don't.
And maybe she didn't.
Oh, she didn't?
No,
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about that.
It's coming up. Don't know how it's going up.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay. Wonderful. Anybody else? Willow has a comment. Well, Michele, thank you so much for coming and being and sharing, providing that awesome meditation. I'd love it again. Oops. Bridget has raised her hand again, but I would love it again if you would share with people how they can get a hold of you, where they can find your book. And then, Bridget, I'm coming right to you.
Yeah, the best place to find me is on my website, centerwithin.com. And you can email me, is another way, is Michele with one L, Michele at centerwithin.com. If you go on my website and sign up for my newsletter, then you'll be able to stay in the loop about the blogs I'm writing, the videos I'm creating, the courses that are coming up. We're going to have a group starting in the fall that meets one Saturday a month, and it's called Higher Octave Living. We have a local, if anyone's in the Twin Cities, we're doing a gathering live, which is so fun again, called Heart Empowered Living. And then we have a 6-month masterclass that's a deep dive into all of this material, designed for people who are interested in bringing it into their service, like being leaders on the planet in this way. And that'll start in September, and it'd be so great to have any or all of you. And so the website stays updated with offerings, as well as the newsletter is a fun way to stay in touch. And one of the things I really like about the newsletter is somebody will have something that's cool that's happened to them. And I don't know if that happens for you too, Sheila, and they reply to me, by the way, I was just thinking about you and I had this really cool download and, experience with whatever. So even it's just fun to be able to have that mechanism to stay in touch. And the book is Living from the Center Within, Co-Creating Who You Are Becoming. And you can pick up the paperback anywhere you buy your paperback, online, Amazon, that kind of stuff. And it's also available on like Apple, iTunes and Audible and those kind of things as well.
Thank you so much. Hey, Bridget, hello again.
Hello again. So we have, everybody's commenting. Let me get back to it. Okay, so Kelly Love says, Michele, I have so much love and gratitude for you opening your vibrations to this co-creation in this now. And then Zensei Love says, what's the best way to help others integrate a multidimensional exopolitical reality as governments and mainstream media across the planet begin to reveal this is happening? And he says, thank you for holding space. You're a beautiful speaker.
Thank you very much. One of the things that I have found the most useful, practically speaking, during this time of polarization, propaganda, programming, all the things, conditioning, right? The messaging is to be able to do two things. One is to genuinely listen to another human being who might not think the same way you think. And for you to be the safe and sacred space, not of course if they're abusive or attacking or any of that kind of stuff, but in a genuine way of, I've listened to people talk about their opinions of things that couldn't be further from my opinion. And if I can listen actively long enough, right, and not infuse my rightness, so we're both talking at the same time, trying to convince each other we're right? But is often at the heart of the listening is pain, suffering, misunderstanding, right? False beliefs. And just through active listening, I can often invite people to really hear themselves, hear their pain, ask where they get their information, right? Could you send me that article? Right? Oh, just in this, be loving. So active listening, being a good listener, there's a saying that says, being listened to is so closely related to being loved, most people don't know the difference. The second thing I would add is that no matter what, if you can hold in your heart that everyone counts, you will radically be creating a different matrix than this programmed matrix that says you can only count if other people don't count as much, they're not right. And I just am here to say that if we hold to everyone counts, it invites them into an interdependent, interconnected conversation, right? And so we let them know they count by listening. And then we continue to walk about the planet. And then, of course, it becomes not just every human being counts, every cell on the planet counts, right? Every drop of water, every blade of glass. And if we can really own that as our matrix, our programming, it's amazing how many people will soften and consider things that they weren't willing to consider and that they were throwing out, trying to polarize, trying to, have power over all the things. So those are my two top of mind comments. What beautiful question. Thank you so much for sharing that, Bridget. Do you have anything else, Sheila, you want to add?
Bridget, do you have any other questions or comments?
I think that was beautiful first, and that unity consciousness. I mean, that's the frequency that you're speaking. The frequency, I should say, symphony that you're speaking right now, and I am receiving it, as is everyone in Awaken Ascending. And Zinsei says thank you very much with a bunch of really good emojis. So
I'm going to double back with you, Bridget, on my metaphor of the symphony. I think is one of the ways that I actually talk about this. Imagine every human being is an instrument in the orchestra, and it's our job to get to know ourselves, right? Are we an oboe? Are we a drum? Right? Are we a violin? Clean this vessel up, right? Have it be working, amazing. And then give your music, your vibration, play yourself in the symphony of humanity, right? There's not a competition. You don't want to play louder than someone else. You don't want to play softer than someone else. You don't want to be passive or aggressive. You want to be authentic. You want to be tuned. You want to be listening to how it all flows together. That image often will come up in my clairvoyance of talking to people, trying to explain what it feels like, this vision for humanity that we're moving towards. So I'm all about the symphony. Thank you, Bridget, for that teaching. That was great.
beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. All right.
Thank you.
Gosh, it's hard to believe our time has already come to a close. Time really flies when you're having fun. So thank you so much. And Michele, again, it was a beautiful presentation. I loved the meditation. I do want you to share yet again about your website, just so that everyone can have an opportunity to write it down, and just, check it out. Michele has a plethora of information for you.
Let me just see if I'm spelling it right here. Centerwithin.com. I'll send it off to you in the comments too. So centerwithin.com.
Great.
Yeah, sign up for the newsletter. I'd love to stay in touch and hear from all of you and get to know you all. I'm going to check out
I'm going to have to do the replay.
Sounds great.
Wonderful. And so at this time, I want to thank everyone for being here. Thank you for your presence, your attention, for your energy that you brought. If you are watching and you have not signed up to be part of the Cosmic Conversations, please do so at thegalacticalliance.org. We would love to have you here. Thanks to all those people who are watching us on YouTube. Please remember to like and share. I'm starting to sound like a commercial here, and I'm not meaning to, but I'm like, gosh, this sounds a lot like a commercial. But if you haven't signed up to be with us, we would love to have you. So thank you again. Thanks again to the audience. And Monday night, we have Larissa Stowe and a couple other musicians who's going to be with us. So we'd love to have you to join us then. So until then, namaste, everyone, and have a beautiful week. Thank you so much for being here.
Crap.
Thank you.
I missed the entire.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Big hug to everybody. Thank you, Michele.